Hello again. Today I'm being called to talk about self-love on the awakening journey and why it's not selfish, but it's actually completely essential. This topic has been coming up again with a number of people that I've worked with this week, and it's normally people that are very empathic and sensitive, loving and compassionate people. But just like myself, and probably many of you listening to this, have been programmed from a young age to believe that loving ourselves is something wrong or selfish or makes you appear egotistical. And it's just such a common thing I find with really heart-centered individuals. So I thought I would address it today, as it's been a theme for this week. And we've all heard phrases like, especially from school or, growing up, oh, she just loves herself, or he loves himself. And it's just said in quite a negative way. So unconsciously, we build an association that if we love ourselves in a genuinely respectful, love for self way, it equals arrogance, selfishness, self-centeredness, that we're more important than other people. It's got like a really kind of negative energy associated with it, and it runs very deep within us, especially if we're sensitive and we're compassionate and we're heart-centered people. And if you're drawn to this channel, you're very, very likely to be that type of person. We're really sensitive soul, empathic, and genuinely care about other people and the world and humanity as a whole. And many of us will see the best in others. We find it easy to give. We feel very deeply. We are excellent at holding space for other people. But when it comes to receiving or, asking for help or support or choosing ourselves, that's something that's often much, much harder. And I know that that's been a definite pattern for me. But it's not by accident, it's because we're programmed that way. From childhood, many of us learned that we receive love through pleasing others, maybe from being a good girl, a good boy, being helpful, not causing trouble, not taking up too much space. We learned that it's not good to upset people, to put others first, to think of others first, to be nice, don't be selfish. And very subtly over time, the belief is formed, and the different beliefs around it are formed, that my needs don't matter as much as someone else's, or I'm only worthy if I'm useful, or I must earn my love that I need through giving. And it's especially strong for women in my experience, and especially strong for very empathic women. So self-love unconsciously starts to feel unsafe, and it feels like if I choose myself, I might be rejected. If I rest, I might be seen as lazy, or I'll judge myself as lazy. If I say no, that means I'm being unkind to that person. They might judge me in a certain way. And if I focus on my needs, that's being selfish. But if we just look at what that pattern creates, it's a world full of exhausted, burnt out, anxious, people-pleasing, over-giving people that are trying to save everyone else while quietly abandoning themselves. And actually that definitely isn't a loving place to be, and it's not a thriving energy, it's more of a surviving energy. And on the awakening journey, this is one of the biggest pieces, the biggest lessons that we come to face. The awakening journey isn't just about spirituality, about energy, about consciousness and all of those things. It's about embodiment of those things And part of that is relearning how to be in a cooperative, loving, compassionate space and relationship with yourself. And many of us are waking up to the fact that the old ways don't work anymore. The pushing energy, the people-pleasing energy, the sacrificing of self, the ignoring of the body and the body's needs, the nervous system, ignoring that, ignoring our emotions. And the body will always speak when the soul is not being listened to. And we get lots of symptoms happen in the body when we're ignoring our true self. And there was a wonderful comment left on one of my videos from a lady who said that she'd had a wobble and she'd felt knocked off her path or knocked off her axis, and that she'd chosen to stop doing and just instead rest and surrender. And I just thought, wow, that one small thing is self-love in action. It's a really powerful, positive step to just say, okay, let's just take some time. Let's just rest. Let's focus on me. And that was her choosing herself. And that's quite radical in this world, especially with these types of people, these beautiful souls that are really heart-centered. And as we know, we've lived in a culture that has always rewarded productivity. It's always rewarded doing energy rather than being. And it's always rewarded giving over receiving. But it's the self-love part of this is, as we get so far along it's not optional. It starts to kind of scream at you a little bit, because it's the foundation of being a heart-led human in this world, operating from a powerful presence and a powerful space. And I know in my own life that in the past I've always really overextended myself and become sometimes resentful of, I've done so much and I've given so much and I'm just not getting the response back or the same kind of reciprocation with another person. Leaves you feeling drained and confused as to, well, this doesn't feel fair. So it allows us to then become really disconnected from ourselves. And I know that a lot of empaths, including myself, carry an unconscious belief that they're here to save the world, need to save the world, need to make it a better place. But that doesn't need to come from the being at the expense of themselves. It kind of sounds like if we have that belief, I've got to heal everybody that I come into contact with, but I don't matter and my needs don't matter. I've got to give endlessly, but I don't need care. I'm the strong one. I don't need assistance. I don't need support. I've got to hold space for others, but I don't need to do that for myself. We kind of put ourselves on the back burner at the expense of wanting to do something good in the world. And actually, this is not wisdom. It's actually, when we really look at it properly, it's a trauma pattern dressed up as being spiritual. And true self-love really talks about putting yourself first. You know, really, your needs matter, your body's needs and health matters, my nervous system and it being regulated matters, my joy and happiness is important, my rest is important. And to have those beliefs without guilt attached to any of them. And when you start living from that place, something incredible happens. You start to become much stronger, much more grounded, much more authentic, and clearer in who you are. And then paradoxically, you become far more powerful in how you help others, because it shows others that it's important also to choose them. And then we can work from, not from an empty cup. We're not operating from an empty cup. We're a full cup that's overflowing, not depleted in any way. And it's that overflow that we're able then to naturally give. So that's why it's really important to fill your cup first. And this is how the new world heart-led leaders are being born. And this is the really important piece of that. And I started something a couple of years ago, which I found really kind of fundamental and really empowering for me. And that was, I set myself a challenge a couple of years ago, which was, the first one I did was 111 days of making, of doing yoga. And that, I didn't need to do like a full sequence or go to a class. Even if it was just a day where I was doing lots of other things, as long as I did one yoga pose, then that's me showing up for myself on the challenge. Doing these videos is my next challenge, which is 111 days of making a video and sharing what I know, or my innate wisdom, to help others. And I'm doing that as my next one, which I'm partway through. So the deeper truth of this challenge is that I'm not just giving of myself. By doing the challenge, I'm showing myself that I can show up for myself, which tells my subconscious mind that I matter, that my voice matters, my health matters, and my truth matters. And this is how we start to repattern and reprogram the subconscious mind from those old beliefs about what self-love is. And it's just that small, consistent act of self-respect, of showing up for self and doing that thing, that just really has such a deeply profound impact. So I'd like to invite you to set yourself a challenge. And it doesn't have to be 111 days. It doesn't have to be creating content. It could be anything at all. It could just be one yoga pose a day, or 5 minutes of breathing a day, drinking more water, a journal entry, turning the phone off at night, saying no to something that drains you. But each small act is then saying to your subconscious mind, I'm safe to choose myself. I'm putting myself first. I'm operating by doing this from a full cup, an overflowing cup. And by me choosing me, it's giving me more capacity to assist others. So it's really flipping it on its head. It's not a selfish, excuse my words, they're not coming out properly. It's not a selfish act. It's actually a very giving act, because we cannot operate from an empty cup, because that's what creates the resentment. And by doing this, it rewires everything, because the subconscious mind learns through repetition and not logic. So every time you choose yourself, you're undoing the decades of conditioning that said other people's needs come first. And you're starting to teach your system that I'm worthy of care, I'm worthy of love, I'm worthy of time, I'm worthy of rest, I matter. And it's really deeply connected to what's happening in the world right now, because the people like us are going to be the new heart-led leaders of the world, not by standing on a pedestal and shouting orders, but by coherence, embodiment and integrity within, and allowing that to spread out, operating from a full cup. And this begins with how you treat yourself, how I treat myself. We can't lead from depletion. We can't anchor in peace while we're still ignoring our own nervous system and our own needs, or abandoning our body. So this is why self-love is not selfish. It's the absolute foundation of the new way of being human. So I'd like you to just set yourself a no pressure challenge. Not about being perfect, it's just a self-honouring challenge. Just choosing one small thing that you can do for yourself every day that's easy for you to achieve. And just set yourself the time, however you want to do it for. It could be something longer and more challenging, or it could be, for this week, I will just do this. But just do it for however long it feels right for you. And just notice how you feel when you start to do this. Just allow it to be simple and just let it be kind, and know that you can do, it's doable. And just notice as you do this how your inner world starts to shift, and how your confidence begins to grow and your boundaries strengthen and your cup starts to fill up, which then starts to change your relationships and the world in which you operate. Because when you truly love yourself, you're not anymore trying to earn the love from others, but it will come naturally as a byproduct, paradoxically. And that's freedom. So if you're listening to this, you are probably an empath, you're probably very sensitive, and you've probably always given more than you've received. So I want you to allow this to be your permission slip, to know that it's safe to choose yourself, and that it's not just safe, it's just important. It's safe to rest, it's important to rest, and it's safe to receive, and it's lovely to receive. It's safe to ask for support, and it's great to have the support. And it's really amazing to love exactly who you are. And this is how we become the new heart-led leaders of this world, from the inside out. So again, I'd like to thank you for walking this journey with me, and thank you for being brave enough to love yourself. It's an incredibly powerful, world-shifting thing to do. And I'd like to allow you to comment and give me your experiences of this if you choose to do it. And I'd just love to hear your comments and to know where you're from. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.